Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. As you know, I'm always in thrift stores looking for high-end style home decor for a lot less than retail, and I found some great pieces again this week. As usual, I'm going to be mixing thrift store bargain finds with a few DIY touches to try and create stylish home decor moments in our home. Come on and join me for this thrifted home decor challenge. Okay, well, thanks everyone for being here. Let's hit the thrift shops again this week and see what we can find. As usual, I'm going to be taking you with me to several different thrift shops, and then I'm going to show you what I brought home and how I styled it in our house. First of all, let me just say again that I love to look at pottery in thrift shops. It's one of my favorite things to find and to source from thrift stores. That little piece was $6 and it was pretty cute. I was just thinking if I had a need for it. I also love to look at wood pieces in thrift shops. I didn't need this alligator cutting board here, but this Christmas tree one was kind of cute and I was trying to think about that one. They were only $1.99. More pottery. That serving piece was $4.49. I thought that it was pretty. I'm finding a lot of greens and reds right now for some reason in the thrift stores, just luck of the draw, I guess, but lots of green and olive tones lately. I also found multiple of these ribbed candle holders from a different thrift store. I thought that these were interesting. Maybe they were used for a wedding or something like that. And I also thought that this large brass goose was really cool, but he was priced at $150, so I had to leave him where he was. But I did think that he was a really cool find, and who knows, maybe somebody has snatched him up by now. The tray behind that, I couldn't really reach to get the price on it, but I thought that that was pretty as well. I figure if they're pricing up brass, it's probably kind of high, so I didn't bother getting help to look at it. I also thought that this large boho basket was a pretty good price. This was $9.99, and I could see this working in someone's space, especially, like I said, if you have more of a boho vibe. I also like this little vase. I found a similar one online for about $80. And I'm just looking around at lots of different thrift stores in the Raleigh and Durham area of North Carolina. I also like to look at dishes, especially if there's a large set. They're often a really good price, and I have found in the past a whole dish set and replaced my whole set with 10 of each, so in a really good brand and price. So always look at the dishes just in case. The first thing that I brought home from the thrift shops this week was this cute square tray. I loved the weaving effect on this tray. This looks like it was done with something like jute or twine in here, and so I just think that it's such a cool piece. You can see it on the bottom side as well. And when I looked this up by an image search, I found out that it initially came from Anthropologie, which is kind of cool. I couldn't find out how much it initially cost, but I can tell you that it had to have cost a lot more than $3.99, which is what I paid for it. So I'm just going to try and do a little touch up on the wood here and get a little bit of the orangey yellow tone out. And so the first thing that I'm doing is going in with some frog tape around the edges there of the braided part so that I'm not going to get any sort of paint or anything on that. And what I'm going to try first is just a simple paint wash. So I'm mixing a little bit of a cream or tan colored paint with about half and half with water, and then I'm just going in with that watered down version of the paint and wiping gently over the wood and wiping the excess back off behind me. I've done this on lots of pieces before. It usually works pretty well, and it's beginner friendly because when you're putting it on this way mixed with water, even if you don't like the way it looks, you can wipe it right back off while it's still nice and wet like that in such a thin coat. But you can see here how just one coat of that really does erase some of the yellow and orange tone underneath of this. So this is a shaver for like clothes, upholstery. You know, it shaves like kind of pills off of things. So I'm going to be using this on the tray to see if I can just make it look more like new again. This is a lot better, but I don't love it. I don't love it, to be honest. I think that I don't know if you can even tell on camera. It looks really good through the camera, but in person it looks kind of pinkish. It has a pink sort of trying to capture it. Like I don't know, it looks pinkish or like a purplish. And I think that there's a better color that I could have used. I'm gonna go back in with this little color called Antler Velvet. And you can see some of it there. You can see what color it is. I think maybe with a hint of gray in the other one over the orangey, it made this sort of pink or something. So I'm gonna just try that whole process again and see if this looks better now. That looks way better. Trays of all shapes and sizes are one of my weaknesses at thrift shops. I admit I love to use them around our home to group things together. They have a way of just making things look more cohesive and more neat and tidy almost immediately, so I love to pick them up. I was gonna try this one out under our newly finished coffee table, and I did. It looks good under there, but right now the only thing it's grouping is our cat, who seems to think it's a new kitty bed for him, but I will show you a shot of it kind of styled up as well right here. Another thing that I brought home from the thrift shops this week was this beautiful pedestal style bowl. This only cost me $2.99, and I really like the shape and the color of this, plus the finish with a kind of matte sort of finish on it. Then when I looked it up by an image search later, I realized that it was actually from A Floral. So it started at $58 and it's on sale right now for $42. They styled this beautifully in their photos for spring, and then also they had this Christmas photo that I thought was really pretty. So I looked up some other inspiration for styling pedestal style bowls, and you can see there are a couple of really easy options. I have some of this asparagus fern in my floral decorative box that I keep with spares, and so I'm going to be styling mine with this for now, and I think that this is really pretty look as well. I thought this was a fantastic deal for $2.99, especially considering the starting price. Okay, so I have these viral stems that I got from Amazon last year. These were so popular, probably because you get a whole bunch of them, like more than this. This is just part of the bundle. And they're not very expensive. And they do look really pretty when they're bundled together like this. The only problem for me is, even though this is a lovely color, admittedly, it's just a little too bright. It's kind of brighter than it appeared online. And so I'm gonna try, instead of my chocolate wash that I've been talking to you about, I'm gonna try like a chocolate dip, because there's no way I'm gonna go through and like paint every one of these little flowers. So I'm just gonna try to mix up like a chocolate wash, basically part water and part paint, and like dip each stem in it and kind of just shimmy it around and pull it out, and see if that kind of quick way will give me a good result or not. So as I said, I'm mixing some chocolate brown paint along with some water here. There's probably about maybe 2 tablespoons worth of the paint, and then the amount of water that you see shown. I'm not sure, I didn't measure, but I'm just mixing that all together so I have enough volume to kind of dip down into. And then I'm taking each stem individually and just dipping it in, letting it drip a little, and setting it aside on some cardboard that I have on my workspace. Okay, so I think that you can probably tell. Now these aren't dry yet, so they look kind of funny because they have drips and stuff, but you can tell how much more saturated these on the right are. I think it's gonna work. I like the color of these better already, and once it really dries, I can tell how well this really worked. I think it worked really well. I'm very happy with the more muted color of these. It's still a nice fall color, but it's not quite so bright and saturated. It's perfect, and I'll show it to you again in a minute. I also want to show you these 2 candle holders that I found at the thrift store. These are vintage and brass. These were $3.99 each. I thought that they were really pretty. They're very heavy and nice quality as well. So I wanted to try these as a little accent piece in our downstairs bathroom, which is our guest bathroom as well. I have these candlesticks that I got from Amazon a while back, as well as these that are brown. I'm not sure about the taupe ones, if they're going to appear too purpley gray. I'm not completely sold on those, but I'm trying the candlesticks here in the space that I had in mind beside this black arch mirror. As far as the placement and the candle holders themselves go, I think that this looks really good. I'm also checking out these brown candles, and I think that I actually like these better. The next thing that I brought home from the thrift shops was this faux fur blanket. This is a 50-inch by 60-inch, so it's a standard throw size. It was in really good shape and very clean. Of course, I washed it again in our washer just to be safe, but really good shape. It is Threshold brand, so it was from Target, so I imagine it was probably around the $30 mark when it was new from Target, but I only paid a few dollars for it from Goodwill. So for this one, I'm just going to be using it on our blanket ladder and in our family room for a regular blanket, so easy peasy. Also, I brought home this guy from an estate sale. This is a beautiful frame with this nice wide linen matting inside of it. I really like the frame color just as it is. I also was really drawn to that matting. I don't care for the print inside particularly. It's very kind of blue gray. It's not doing much for me, but I'm definitely going to try and use this frame and put a different print inside of it. So the first thing that I'm doing is just going in with my box cutter and gently cutting around the inserted part where I can feel where the artwork is and getting rid of that paper so that I can see how I need to get into the back of this. Then there were just a few staples that I had to pull out, so that was easy enough. Okay, this is odd. Look at this. It was a different color initially. So now I just want to play with what other art I might put under this instead. And I have this print, which admittedly is kind of crinkled. It's been in storage, that I could maybe use. This is such a long, skinny rectangle. I might have to play with it and kind of see what makes sense. Something like that. That could be pretty. Just wanting to try using something I already have on hand this time. Another option is this, which I had in this black frame. This might actually look better in this sort of frame than it did initially. Yeah, I like that. I think that's really pretty. I think I'm gonna go for this one. I think what I'm gonna do is just try taping this right where it is rather than cutting it, since there's plenty of space for the whole thing. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, that works totally fine. Now I just need to clean this glass and this is ready to go. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there's this whole kind of war going on online with different types of people saying, on one side, you know, saying that anything from a box store like Hobby Lobby or Target or anything like that is lame. Like, ew, if you decorate with something like that, that's totally lame. And then there's other people who that's really all that they decorate with, and that's what they push. For me, I think that a mixture is best, because this is completely, you know, custom. You know, one side of that camp would appreciate this. Very unique. It's not straight from a box store. But I'm going to take this and I think I'm going to stack it with a piece straight from Hobby Lobby right over it and mix the two together. The new, admittedly mass-produced, with something unique that is not in everyone else's home. And see how that looks. I think that there's nothing wrong with that at all. So I ended up finding this exact same image online, and when I look at this particular retailer and look up the size that's the closest to the frame that I have, which is a 16 by 20, it would cost me $160 to get this printed out and framed. So it just reiterates to me how this is a really good price for only $8 plus the cost of printing out the image. This is in the public domain, but if you're going to get it from there, you're going to have to clean it up some, so I ordered mine from Etsy, and I will link that for you below. And I removed this nail. So there's this hole, and I just wanted to show you this product called Fill Stick by Mohawk. You kind of just push and turn the pen and go different directions, especially if you have white walls. It's a very simple way to make nail holes disappear. And one last item to share with you today. This is a beautiful large brown pitcher that I found at Goodwill. It cost me $7.99, but it did have some sort of tag from estate sale or something for $20. So anyway, I paid $7.99. It's so heavy and so nice. It definitely looks like a vintage piece to me and very high quality. I'm going to be styling this in the dining room on this little sideboard table that we have here, and I'm putting in some florals from Hobby Lobby from last year. As you can see on Etsy, there's a similar one for about $73, so I think that I got a great deal for $7.99 on this one. And that about wraps up today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed this and gotten some thrifting inspiration for yourself and for your home. If you did enjoy the video, I just ask that you would please hit the like button and then also leave a comment letting me know what you enjoyed. If you would like to see more of these videos in your feed, also go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Have a great week, and in the meantime, I'll see you at the next video.